Spent 2 years saving $15,000 to take my son on his first real vacation. But when I told him his stepbrother was coming too, he went quiet and said he didn't want to go anymore because his rich stepbrother always gets everything. I, 48M, have been married to my wife for 13 years. I have a son, 18, and she has a son, just turned 19. When they were younger, the boys were extremely close, but they slowly drifted apart as they got older. A big part of that, I think, was the financial disparity between what I could provide and what my stepson's biological father, who is very wealthy, could give him. My stepson had the kind of childhood where he got to go on frequent mini vacations, take part in expensive activities, have nicer things, all of that. My son did not have those opportunities. I shared custody with his mom until she passed away 6 years ago, and between the two of us, we did our best to give him good memories, even if we could not match what my stepson's side could afford. As the boys grew older, my son became more aware of this difference. I have always tried to reassure him that it was not his stepbrother's fault, and that different families just have different levels of resources, but it never fully eased that feeling. Their relationship did not turn hostile or anything. They still talk, but they are not close anymore. During the summer between my son's sophomore and junior years, I finally got a long overdue pay increase. I decided I wanted to do something special. I started saving over 2 years for a real vacation, something my son had never had the chance to experience. Over that time, I managed to save more than $15,000. Originally, the trip was planned as a family trip with both boys. I booked a week-long lodge trip for winter break from December 13th to December 20th. Both boys are in college now. My stepson finishes finals on the 8th, my son on the 11th, so the timing worked out perfectly. My wife had already told her son about the trip before I could tell mine, so he knew he was included. I booked everything in mid-November and planned to tell my son once everything was finalized. When I finally told my son, he lit up. He could not stop smiling. This would be his first real vacation, first time traveling far from our state. He just kept thanking me. I felt so proud that I could finally give him something like this. But then I mentioned that my stepson would also be coming, and his face fell immediately. I asked him what was wrong, and he told me he assumed the trip was going to be just me, him, and his stepmom, or just me and him. He did not think his stepbrother would come. He said he feels like every time he finally gets something special, it ends up not being just his moment, because his stepbrother has always had so many opportunities, and this was the one thing he thought would be just for us. To be fair, most of the smaller outings over the years were just me and him. My stepson came sometimes, not always. But I understood what he meant. This is something he has never had before, and he wanted to experience it without feeling overshadowed. I told him I did not feel right excluding my stepson. It is a family trip, and he is my wife's son. On top of that, everything was already booked. Canceling or changing would mean losing a good amount of money. My son eventually forced a smile and said he was fine. A few days later, he texted me saying he did not want to go at all. He thanked me for planning it, but said he would rather stay home. I called him immediately. He insisted it was not about his stepbrother, but the more we talked, the clearer it became. He feels like he will not be happy if his stepbrother comes and does not want to bring the mood down for everyone. After receiving that text, I asked my wife how she would feel if it became just a fathersome trip. She was very upset at first. She said it would be wrong to set a precedent and make it normal to exclude family members from trips. I explained that the trip was significantly cheaper than what we initially thought it would be, so the leftover money could be used for a family trip later, so everyone could still enjoy something special. I told her I also felt bad because my son literally never asks for anything and I didn't want to disappoint him, because I really planned this trip with him in mind. She said she would be okay with the plan, though she still seemed uneasy, especially since her son had already been told about the original trip and is now upset when told he couldn't come. Comments where Op has replied. Comment 1. Uda, the trip was already planned as a family trip and stepson was invited. Your son wants to throw a tantrum about it and you just let him. He had plenty of one-on-one time with just you, for your post, and he still wants to be difficult. Oop, he had one-on-one time with me, but it was always small things like movies or dinner. He never had anything close to an actual trip. That is why this felt different to him and why he wanted it to be just us. Comment 2. Info. Did stepson's bio dad ever offer to include your son on trips? Because this is seeming a bit one-sided to me, with everyone saying you were wrong to exclude the stepson, yet there's no mention of stepson's dad including your kid. Oop. No, my son was never invited on trips. Comment 3. I know you're getting pounded with YTA, but I feel quite a bit of sympathy for you, Op. I think your intentions were good. So NTA there. But how often does your son really ask you for something? Is this the first time he has done something like this? I think that is a very important consideration. Has he been going along with all of it, but feeling more and more bad, until he finally couldn't contain it anymore? And I just kind of shake my head at all the holier-than-thou judgments about how your son is an asshole. He told you how he really feels, and simply asked that this vacation be the two of you together alone. Did he have a tantrum and explode? Did he cuss and yell? Or did he just ask? And then quietly withdraw? Listen, I think, unlike so many of the others, that you're actually on a bit of a knife's edge up. Sometimes with our kids, they don't express themselves well. They are still young. Communication can be very rough. It can swing wildly between no talk to too much emotion all at once, and we older adults need to give them grace. If your son has been holding back a lot of these feelings of resentment and wanting to do something special and be celebrated just by you, for once, then I think you have to pay careful attention to all the factors. Because this could become one of those deep grievances that your kid just can't or won't get over. And that would be sad. Sometimes our children really want to know that we prioritize them and value them, and we have to show it and prove it. We have to remember just how insecure our children are and how much they need us. So I don't have judgment for anyone in this case. I do think it was bungled and you would have done better to talk to your son earlier. I mean, the stepbrother got to know before he did, even. I really hope you can salvage this and it doesn't sow a seed of bitterness that leads to buried grievance and estrangement, God's forbid, later on. Please update me. Oop, yes, he hardly asks for anything. For birthdays, Christmas, or other special occasions, he would never ask for anything and would always say it didn't matter or that he didn't mind. He was never ungrateful. That's part of why I really wanted to give him this trip. I always felt bad I couldn't give him the things his stepbrother had. He just got quiet and resigned when he told me that. He didn't yell or anything. Comment 4. Yeah, I'm going to stand by my previous comment. When you have a child who is quiet like yours, mine is too, you have to be more vigilant as a parent to really take the time to assess their feelings and how deep they run. My husband is like this too. Very quiet, so by the time he actually says something, you know it's fucking important. It's like a glacier. Only the top 10% is showing. Honestly, I would tell your wife and stepson that this is big. This is serious. And sorry, you need to really take care of your son and focus on him and show him that his feelings and wants are important to you. I just have a weird feeling that if you don't, you will really come to regret this much later when it's too late. Sorry for the doom and gloom, but my mom radar just went off with your post. Another edit to say, the fact that your son got very quiet and resigned. He's this close to giving up. It's not when they are screaming and yelling that you should get scared, it's when they withdraw and pull away. Then you're almost too late and you have to act. Another 2 cents from a supportive parent. Update, after reading the comments, I talked to my son more about it. He still didn't want to go on the trip. We tried to work it out, but he was firm. So my wife, my stepson, and I went without him. I thought maybe I could use the extra money to do something just for him later or keep saving for the summer. I had a good time on the trip, but I really missed having him there. I kept in touch while we were away and knew he was staying with my parents. When we got back, he still wasn't home. I called to ask when he'd be coming back and he said he'd stay with his grandparents until school started. We spent Christmas Eve with my wife's family and then traveled to my parents' place on Christmas Day, where he was. He mostly stayed in the guest room. I tried talking to him, he talked back, but minimally. He told me he was fine. I tried to give him money for Christmas. He thanked me, but told me he didn't want it. I sent him a text the day after Christmas because I was hurt and didn't want him thinking I was trying to upset him. I even offered another vacation just for him and me, but he declined. He told me that growing up, he sometimes resented and felt jealous of his stepbrother. When I framed the trip as something special for him, he realized it wasn't really just for him at all. Watching his stepbrother's dad always give him experiences and things, he just wanted one of those moments for himself, something that was completely his, just me and him, without having to share. He said he just wanted us to experience something first, something that was his, because growing up had been rough. His stepbrother went on trips often, got birthday celebrations, Christmas trips, and other outings, and no one cared about how he felt. He said it hurt a lot to grow up watching all of that happen while he didn't get the same opportunities. He talked about how even on his birthdays or when his grandparents would take him out to a water park, his stepbrother always had to come along. He never understood why he was always forced to share experiences while his stepbrother got to do other things without him. He wanted something he could call his own, a moment just for him. When I told him about the trip, a lot of the happiness he felt at first was from thinking it could finally be something for him alone. But then he realized his stepbrother was going to be there, and that took it away. He admitted he was angry when he left to stay with my parents, but my mom told him to use that anger as motivation for school. Now he's planning to focus on school so he can take himself on nice trips in the future, and that will mean more to him. He said he's okay with not doing anything with me right now and that he's looking forward to the future, hoping he can afford the things he wants. He said he didn't want to feel like he's my second choice. I don't know. I feel hurt and guilty. I worry I might have messed up my relationship with him and I don't know how to fix it. Next story, Husband's coworker would text him about our family and I joked she was his work wife, but then I met her at his Christmas party and she said she's 16 years old, so I made him delete her contact, but now I feel bad because I have been married to my husband, 43M, for over 10 years. We have a normal, healthy relationship. No cheating, hiding phones, etc. He is a chef for an organization / not a restaurant, so he works normalish hours, usually 12 to 8. In telling me about his day at work, he will casually mention the names of people I don't know, but have come to know about through his work stories. One of these people is a lady we'll call Sarah. I had gotten the gist that Sarah is a younger woman that is just starting out in her culinary career and my husband has sort of taken her under his wing, which I thought was cool. She would text him during non-work hours about regular friend stuff, asking how our daughter's birthday party was, how our new cat was doing. I was happy he was taking this young lady under his wing as I know how kitchens can be for women. I jokingly referred to her as his work wife a few times, just kidding with him about how often he mentioned her. I had zero suspicion about cheating, just thought she was a female friend and coworker. My husband recently put in his 2 weeks at that organization, and has only been working part-time there to help them in the transition while also working at a new place that seems much less chaotic. He's super happy at the new spot. His last day of work was last week, and it also happened to fall on the day of the previous job's Christmas party. I went with him to the party like I normally do, and I got to meet Sarah. She seemed like a sweet girl, clearly knew he was married, asked me about some treats she had made and sent home with him recently that I got to try. She mentioned that she cried earlier that day because he wouldn't be there anymore and she would have to work with the other crazies without him, to which I responded that she should try to apply at his new job because it seems a lot less stressful. She said that she was planning on it, but couldn't until she turns 18 in 2 years. The girl is 16. I was taken aback. I thought about the friendly texts, referring to her as his work wife, etc. I knew she was young but not that she was a child. On the way home, I sort of confronted my husband about it. I asked him if he knew she was 16, yes, and why he didn't mention it, didn't seem important. He seemed hurt that I was calling out that behavior is inappropriate on his part. I absolutely don't think that anything sexual was going on, which he seems to think that is the issue, but I am genuinely concerned that he doesn't see how inappropriate it is to be friends with a 16-year-old girl. We have a 7-year-old daughter, and I asked him how he would feel if when she was 16, he found out that she had been texting her 40-plus-year-old male boss after work hours just to chat. He said that he didn't see an issue as long as it wasn't sexual or anything. I told him that he needed to not have any contact with Sarah anymore, and he got defensive and said that he didn't even have any reason to contact her because they didn't work together anymore, but I shouldn't accuse him of being a predator just because he was being nice to her. I tried to explain that I know that he wasn't being a creep, but anyone who didn't know him well, or her parents, would see their friendship as inappropriate. He showed me where he deleted her contact and off Facebook at my request, but he's being standoffish as though I'm making a big deal out of nothing. AIO? Edit. Just to clarify some things that keep getting mentioned in comments, he never referred to her as his work wife. I am the only one who said that, and I definitely would not have had I known her age. Yes, I get how the term work wife is weird. I never suspected my husband of any kind of inappropriate relationship with Sarah, and made sure when we were talking about the situation that he knew this. I didn't accuse him of being a predator or grooming her or anything like that. He didn't act inappropriately to her in any way. The confrontation was about how it looks to other people, and how I would think anyone would react to a man his age having a friendship with a child that he no longer has a working relationship with. Comments where Op has replied, Comment 1. Did he call her the work wife? Did she call herself his work wife? Or did you call her his work wife? I jokingly referred to her as his work wife a few times. I don't see other references to this other than your comments. Did you get mad at him for your own comment? Oop, I guess that I'm now seeing how I'm a little mad at myself for referring to her as his work wife, and I am the only one who used that term. Had I known her age, I would not have said that. Downvoted commenter. Info. What kind of job does your husband work where a 16-year-old would be there day in and day out? A high school dropout? I enjoy some stories, but this seems very unlikely to have ever happened. Oop. At this job, he was a chef for a catering company. I'm assuming his coworker was able to come to work after she got out of school. I don't know the particulars of how many hours kids that age can work, but I'm assuming it was part-time. Comment 2. She's overreacting. He may not have said so, but there's a good chance he thought of her as a surrogate daughter helping her learn how to be a chef. I had a friend on the internet. She wasn't 16 but she was much younger than I was, and I also always thought of her as a surrogate daughter. She was married to a jerk. Luckily she realized she was married to a jerk. They got divorced. Then she met someone better and married him. We kept in touch, although she stopped posting after they had a child and I haven't heard much from her since. So, his thoughts about the girl are not anything like what his wife is fantasizing it is. Oop, no, I definitely thought this too. My husband is a safe person, and I can see how he just thought that he was being nice to her. As I said in the post, I know him well enough to know that he isn't grooming her or doing anything like that. Someone else responded here that the optics were bad, and that's what I'm trying to get him to understand. It's not about him actually being creepy. If I knew a 40-year-old man and 16-year-old girl were texting, and not about work, it would instantly put me on guard about him and for her. I worry that he is not seeing how it would be seen as inappropriate if someone saw their relationship without the context. I'm sorry if I made it seem as though I thought something nefarious was going on. I absolutely don't. Update: I have read all of the comments and appreciate them and took them into consideration. The issue was gnawing at me, so husband and I had a lengthy conversation this morning. I apologized for my knee-jerk reaction and for automatically assuming that people would think the worst. We discussed some things that were brought up here, mostly about how it was my own embarrassment for sexualizing the relationship with the work-wife comments. Rest assured I will never use that term again. Truly had no idea that the phrase was such an ick for people, but that he should have mentioned that she was a kid the first time I said it. He said that he thought that I already knew that she was still in high school, and he thought I was just poking fun at him because I thought a kid a crush on him at work. I asked him how I would know that without him telling me directly, and he brought up that I had asked him who she was when she liked a pic I had tagged him in on FB. It was a pic of some food that looked amazing. I posted it to my FB because I was proud of him. She liked the post, and I generally know his friends who like his tagged pics, so I said, "Hey, who's this?" And he said, "Oh, that's Sarah from work." And that was it. He had assumed that I had done some digging, and I didn't, so I had no idea. I also tried to explain to him that it was awesome that he was her mentor. Tried to use this term a lot because it was mentioned in the comments often, and that I wish I had that when I was younger, but that many people's experience with older male coworkers were not good, mine included, and that people might have the same immediate reaction that I did. I apologized for projecting my bad experiences into this situation. His response was that he had no interest in being anyone's mentor, especially someone he would have to mentor outside of work. He said that he just felt protective of her, like some people have mentioned, and he would want someone to take care of our daughter too if she finds herself in his line of work. He said that she alluded to not having a great family, and that she absolutely loved our daughter. She's been into his job a couple of times when he had to take her to get a deposit/do a grocery run on his days off, and had told him she could babysit if we ever needed her to. He said that she had taken an interest in me as well because he had mentioned what I do for a living. I work in the music industry, and was always asking what bands I get to see. He said that in his mind, he knew that this girl could benefit from having stable adults in her life, and that he had intended to keep the line of communication in hopes that she could reach out to him/us if she needed anything now that they didn't work together anymore. I was so ashamed reading the comments, and especially when he said that my reaction to the situation was to cut communication because of how it looks, and not realizing that this girl may be latching onto him because she needed someone like my husband. We came to the conclusion that we were both sort of in the wrong due to both of us just assuming things, me assuming that she was an adult, him assuming I knew she was a kid. He admitted that he didn't once think about how it may look that she texted him, because he knew that it was innocent, but in the future he would loop in another adult when she contacted him just so nothing gets misconstrued. I apologized for assuming that other people would assume the worst. He's a great guy. All is well.